Hi, Alex. Welcome to the 100X show.
Hello, Magdi. Great to be here.
We have already covered unique network for our community at Token Metrics. We discovered the project a few months back when you guys were doing private sale. So this podcast will be about basically helping our community and some of the audience know what unique network is trying to achieve, and basically allow you the platform to kind of tell your story. So my first question is regarding your background and unique network team. So over here, I'm trying to assess the founder market fit and your team's ability to solve problem after shipping the product.
Thank you. Yeah, pleasure to be here again and talk a little bit about what we're doing and who we are. I'll start with myself. As you see, gray hair. I've been around IT industry for a long time. Started in New York with a Wall Street technology firm, and then I worked for more than 10 years for a company called Luxoft. It was software development startup when I joined it, and I built its financial services practice, which basically did projects large and small for investment banks and mostly and the various big companies around the world. We worked on very large engagements with some of the top tier investment banks where we had like thousands of developers and so on. Um, and and then about 7, 8 years ago, started looking into startups. I was an entrepreneur in residence for a while in a holding company that owned Luxoft, and then got in by myself. I joined Ustech in 2016, which is a software development company started by my friend from Luxoft days, and Ustech is kind of has over 500 developers today. And when I joined it, I was looking into the cutting edge technologies at the time and found blockchain, fallen in love, and decided to focus solely on that. We opened the blockchain lab at Ustech in 2017 and did a lot of projects on a lot of different chains. Initially, of course, on Ethereum, and then we discovered Polkadot in early 2019. Started working on infrastructure. Those were the early days, and we did a number of projects there with the help of Web3 Foundation. And the last fifth of them was the NFT palette that we created. It was the first NFT palette in the Substrate ecosystem, and we discovered how powerful a solution that can be. That can be the next generation NFT infrastructure, and we decided to focus on that. Along the way, co-founder of our blockchain lab, Greg Zaitsev, was kind of the ideology creator of Unique Network, technology side of things. He is CTO today. We have a team across the world, really. We have Charu, who is our CMO. She's in Singapore. She's also a veteran of enterprise marketing, worked at IBM, worked at Engine for a while. And so we're trying to build a very global team, finding likewise people, like-minded people. Our business development is headed by Irina. She's in Spain. She runs our metaverse growth. She has been a Polkadot main. How do they call that, chief? Kind of senior Polkadot ambassador for a couple of years. She's very well into the art scene and so on. And our technical team is now, we have grown it from about 6 people that were part of the team when we kind of launched the first test net a couple of years ago into 35-ish or something. It keeps kind of growing, changing by the day, that are divided into 3 groups. One is Greg's group that runs the core blockchain development. Second is the overall development group that develops all our tools that we use to help others. And the third is ecosystem support team, and that basically whose job is to work with the ecosystem of partners who are building on top of Unique. So we have done a lot of things. We have, I think, more custom palettes than any other Parachain on Kusama, I guess, and then we'll have soon one on Polkadot. Our testnet has been live since launching it in August 2020, and we had actually a marketplace on it that we are now moving to our mainnet in a few days, actually. But it has been running there without any kind of significant problems for year and a half now. So there is this tremendous track record here, actually, that anybody looking into the project can see and for themselves.
Yeah, just to add on that, I believe you guys have deep Polkadot experience. So when I was looking at your website, I kind of see that you guys are Web3 recipients as well as winners of different hexoma as well. So can you also touch upon that to kind of give our audience a feel that you have been very deeply involved with the Polkadot ecosystem?
Sure. So, as I mentioned, in 2019, we discovered Polkadot, and Web3 Foundation started a grant program. So we were recipient of the first grant in their almost first wave. It was a second wave formally, but we got it even before they finished the first one. And we have received actually 5 total grants from Web3 Foundation to build different APIs and different infrastructure components. And the last one of that was an NFT palette. We have also received a grant from Kusama Treasury as well for some nomination work with it. So indeed, we have actually years of experience in developing different things in the ecosystem. We're part of the Substrate Builders program for I don't know how long now. It's over a year for sure. Where they are helping us with things we need, and we are kind of sharing and helping them with the kind of wider to distribute things we come up with. You mentioned Hakusama. That was the first hackathon that the Polkadot ecosystem organized, Parity organized for Kusama, and we won that with our testnet for the build a blockchain category. And of course, we won the community award because everybody loves NFTs. So we were accepted very well from the start. But indeed, we are kind of in the Polkadot ecosystem from the very early days. We know a lot of people both at Parity and in the ecosystem. We collaborate with many of them, and we kind of organizationally and technically we kind of try to contribute to the overall ecosystem work together.
Great. Now, since we have established the context and background of yourself and the team, let's segue into basically telling our audience what Unique Network is and what is the vision of Unique Network.
Unique Network is NFT infrastructure for the Polkadot ecosystem. It basically provides the basic functionality that anybody would come to expect from the NFTs, and then it is a place for innovation in the NFT space. We like to view it, and we work on it as the next generation of NFT infrastructure, where we create a blockchain that allows things that couldn't be done and can't be done on other chains that are completely new in the NFT space globally. So besides being fully EVM compatible, we have EVM and things like that you can use, but so are many other chains. But we build on top of that. You can choose to use our palette, which mints natively. NFTs, and not only NFTs, just for fun, we did also native minting of refungibles, which makes them much more scalable, flexible, and gives many other advantages.
So what do you mean
Um,
by refungible? Like basically having an NFT and then distributing that one NFT as tokens? Is that what you mean?
I mean, minting an NFT and then minting fungible tokens, so ERC20 or that basically share the ownership of that NFT or share some characteristics or kind of are basically it is just like fractionalization in the Ethereum space.
Um, let's just do a deep dive into different features within unique networks. So I know you guys are working on white label NFT marketplaces. So so with this, like, will anybody be able to create NFT marketplaces for themselves? And will these marketplaces be not just for JPEGs? Could it be for any other type of NFTs out there? Could be gaming asset, could be music. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So it's not that they will be able; they are able for quite some time, and some are already doing that. Um, this is a kind of an interesting story for me because that strategy kind of almost kind of accidentally came about. So when we rolled out our first testnet in August for Hakusama in August 2020, we made the first collection just to show that demonstrate that the chain works. We made substrate punks, but people were so kind of interested in that those punks were kind of gone in a few days, and people started trading them. The trading kind of was insecure because it was over the counter. So we built in a couple of weeks. We built a marketplace where that people can use to trade safely. Then that marketplace became so popular that people started associating us with that. Okay, and we didn't want that. We want Unique Network to be hundreds of marketplaces. Thousands of games and things like that. It's not our job to make one marketplace and that's it. So we decided, okay, we are now working on making that marketplace white label so that anybody who wants to do it can do it very quickly, very easily, doesn't have to know substrate, doesn't have to know blockchain even at all, and can create their marketplace. And we have had people doing that ever since for, I guess, over a year now. And there's a number of them live in our testnet. And we're now kind of preparing to help them launch on Quartz as our Kusama Parachain first. So the idea there is to, as I mentioned, we have a large tech team. So what they're doing is developing all the tools that help others to develop solutions quickly. And marketplace is one of them. There's also minting solution. We announced that in January. We had 1,700 collections minted in 2 weeks after we launched that. It's a very simple tool. You can use it. Anybody can use it. It's not for developers to mint NFTs on Opal, our testnet. And we're deploying that very soon, I think this week or next week, to Quartz. To the live environment. Then we have a wallet, of course. We have a block explorer that kind of shows the operations with the NFTs. And we have the marketplace. We are finishing up the gallery and primary marketplace in addition. So anybody can come, take the code of that, and very quickly, our goal is in an hour, create their own NFT business. So basically, if you have a web developer, our CTO holds kind of a lot of workshops, was at Denver and so on, showing how in an hour you can create your own marketplace, just like this. Because, for us, those use cases are actually simple. We want to create a chain that kind of goes beyond and does the next thing. So the basic things should be quick and easy, cheap, and so on.
Yeah, let's dive into some of the complicated things. So, I believe one of the features of the marketplaces will be that you guys want to support different and complicated NFT formats. So, I think from the Eat Denver conversation, the CTO, I think it was one of the questions regarding NFT interactions, NFT interactivity, nested NFTs, conditional rendering, all of these kind of unique NFT features, kind of supported by unique networks. So, can you kind of touch upon all of these features and formats that your marketplace might potentially support?
It's not our marketplace; it's our blockchain that can support it, and that can be used in any marketplace that anybody wants to make. Again, our goal is that within a couple of months we should have dozens of marketplaces on it. So I just want to keep repeating that because we want to invite others to make their own things build on top. We are B2B. We want others to do B2C. So you mentioned two things, actually. Technically, there are two things, different formats and then different NFT functionality. Formats is something that is flat. You can kind of always add more. We are certainly working on supporting a number of different format and advanced formats. I'm very much looking forward to working on some 3D rendering solutions that can make native kind of powerful 3D NFTs, and that's kind of very attractive to really professional designers and people like that. And it's just attractive visually, okay? And is attractive in terms of what you can do afterwards with those NFTs. And similarly, we're of course working to support any kind of format that people may need. In terms of advanced functionality, we've already done some things. We already developed things. So there are things like scheduling, for example, that is natively supported. That's something that's not possible on Ethereum. It is possible in Substrate, and we did it for NFTs. You can use scheduling. That means that the user signs a transaction and it happens at a certain moment in time in the future. It's great for subscriptions. It's great for games, and because you can hatch an egg and it can hatch in, I don't know, 9 hours or whatever. Then we're working together with Remark team on some very advanced NFT functionality. So bundling nested NFTs and things like that. We have had that vision ever since our tech paper, and Remark team is kind of the most passionate about it and most capable of delivering it, and we are kind of working on it together to create some very advanced NFT functionality that can kind of bring the completely new generation of the apps and solutions that you're doing with NFTs. That will be the consistently growing thing. One beautiful thing about Substrate is that you can add seamlessly to the blockchain itself native support of functionality like this as you develop it. You don't have to wait for 6 months and do a hard fork and kind of pray that it works. You can deliver it every week as the new software is created. So we're planning to use that to consistently add new functionality to our blockchains. And we are really looking forward to both infrastructure makers who can make more advanced stuff and have ideas on how to use them, and of the app makers who can take advantage of them.
Is there any other functionalities I might be missing? For example, I believe you guys, I think, had it on your Medium article, a guest-less transaction. You guys were very focused on having that user experience where they don't have to pay for gas, and also kind of the ability for the Parachain to communicate with other Parachains in Kusama and Polkadot. So it would be great if you can touch upon those 2 points as well.
Yes. So as I mentioned, Substrate is a great technology. That's why it's very flexible. That's why I'm very bullish on it long term and short term. And it allowed us. We were the first in the whole ecosystem to take advantage of the flexibility it provides to create a sponsoring palette. It's out there. It's free for anybody to use. What it does is basically it changes the way that blockchain can work economically, so that those who create applications, they don't have to charge the end users the transaction fees. So that what this does is that this allows anybody to create a Web2 experience for their users. We all know that blockchain is complicated, and we all want blockchains to go into mass audiences. And being able to deliver gasless transactions for end users is extremely important to enable that, because you remove all the complexities of blockchain. And we've seen that actually NBA Top Shots has done that for Flow has done that for NBA Top Shots, and that's why they were able to attract millions of users. We have that in our infrastructure enabled natively. So it's actually very easy to deploy, very easy to take advantage of, and we envision a lot of projects will take advantage of that. That is actually one of our key competitive advantages at this time.
Great, amazing. So I know you touched upon this point, but like I would love to learn more about your current development status and what lies ahead in terms of roadmap. I know you guys have Animoca as one of your investors, so also will be keen to kind of learn more about the gaming and freemium game features that, uh, like some of the tooling for those for games as well. Uh,
All of these things, I think, are much that I mentioned. All the advanced features are more important for the gaming industry than they are for art, for example, or collectibles, because games do need them, every one of them. So it depends on a game. Because games have much higher demand in terms of what technology should do. That's the reason why we have very few good games so far in the blockchain space, because blockchains cannot do much. We give them much more flexibility, much more power, much more everything to use to create real games on blockchain, something that kind of is much more interesting than what is out there today. In terms of our development roadmap, we are finalizing it as we go. We should publish it in March. But what we are doing, so we have launched Quartz, our Kusama Parachain, in December. And we are now working to launch all of our features on it, all our tools, and the third-party applications on Quartz. I guess March will be a very big month for that, because we are launching our collections, our marketplace, I believe Block Explorer is there already, but the minting solutions, we're going to have some festivals around that. And then we are starting a slowly support of third-party projects that are launching on Quartz. So that is the immediate focus. Okay. And then the way we envision this year is, well, we still need to launch Unique. We hope that happens in the second quarter. We're going for the crowd loan in the next batch. But in parallel, the development goes on at a frantic pace, to be honest. We have 4 main streams of work ahead of us. One is, so we are finishing up the tools, so that will have very little left to do. What we are doing is, first stream relates to boring infrastructure things, but that are extremely important for anybody building on top, to enable seamless integration and upgrades Kusama, Substrate, Kusama, Polkadot, they upgrade every week or so. Okay. So managing those changes is extremely difficult when you have hundreds of applications on top. And we need to do we want to do a very, very deep kind of platform for managing that to minimize any pain or time or resources needed for any DApp that built on top of Unique. So that's the first stream. We call that Canary builds. Second one is SDK. We do have already SDK that anybody could use to build stuff, and we're going to make it much more powerful and much more robust. That's the key. And the third stream is UI components. So right now we offer two things to the developers who develop on Unique. One is the Whitelabel marketplace. That's basically a fixed kind of software that you take it, you change a few things you can change, and you cannot change much more. It is what it is. For anybody who wants to do custom stuff, they take SDK and then they develop the whole UI themselves. Our third stream of work is developing different UI components so that people who want to develop on top of the SDK can do that much quicker, much easier, and so on. Fourth area of development is actually helping all our ecosystem partner customize or develop, customize our tools or develop their own solutions. So it's kind of very infrastructure, ecosystem work. Okay. And all these four things, four streams will have actually continuous roadmap, and the roadmap itself will only be defined by exact features we do at a certain moment in time.
Earlier you mentioned one of the partnership with RMRK. I will be interested in knowing some other key partnership you guys are focusing on, and some of the projects that are kind of utilizing Unique networks infrastructure and the chain.
Sure. So yeah, Remark is probably the earliest bird and kind of our most powerful partner because they know well the ecosystem. They're doing a lot of stuff, and we're doing a lot of stuff together. It's it's the closest partner because we know the stuff, they know the stuff, and we kind of together can create the very powerful things, which we will. Besides that, we are having a number of partners. We are focusing this year on partners that can help us scale. That includes development shops and incubators and combination of those and so on. And the solution makers, people who can take on. We have had hundreds of projects who reached out to us in the last year, hundreds. And we cannot serve all of them ourselves. So we are developing a network of partners who can, okay, for different use cases, different things. Among the announced partnerships, we are working with XP Network, for example, is creating a bridge between different chains. I hope that in March they release the Quartz version of that, where you can with ease use their bridge to send NFTs from Quartz to Polygon and back to Binance Chain and back to Solana, to many chains. That's one. We're working with Linum Labs, a dev shop that we partner with to help them to learn our technology and to use it to help a lot of projects with they have a great dev shop that is focused a lot on NFTs and can help big projects take off the ground. We just finished earlier in February. We did the joint hackathon with Sovereign Nature. It's a great kind of company that does a lot of NFT stuff and is very focused on sustainability. Which we give them as we are kind of the greenest NFT blockchain out there, very climate conscious. and we are basically helping them create their own marketplace, which they did, and they're helping a lot of projects do NFT build drops and things like that. So those are types of partnerships we are most focused on. And then we have in the pipeline a number of what I call enterprise projects for big kind of companies, for strategic kind of projects, and so on. Those have to wait until kind of mostly finished to be publicly announced. So I'll refrain from doing that now. We are also working. The third area we're working on is interoperability, and it has two directions actually. One is within the Polkadot ecosystem, and the other is beyond it. So within the Polkadot ecosystem, we have successfully made the tunnel XCM to Karura, and we are going to announce very soon the start of its work, its launch. It will launch with our token being listed on their Karura swap. That will be the proof of the XCM, and then we are diving into the interoperability of NFTs within the ecosystem. It's quickly become very complex because a lot of people are doing a lot of things, and that's great for the ecosystem. But somebody has to take care of the interoperability. So Gavin Wood has made this unique palette, I guess. He liked our name, so he built on top of that as a very minimalistic NFT palette on State Mine and State Mint, which are asset palettes for parachains for Kusama and Polkadot, respectively. And the next kind of thing we're doing is the interoperability with that, and then the step after that will be interoperability with all the other chains. That is much more ambitious and kind of not too specific at this moment. We'll see where R&D takes us on that one. And final kind of direction is work with all the EVM chains out there initially. So we have complete Ethereum compatibility. Our MetaMask talks to our chain exactly like it talks to Ethereum. It thinks like it talks to Ethereum because we connected it at assembly level. Developers kind of will appreciate that. And we are now starting to work with several of the established NFT projects who have their solutions on Ethereum, on Polygon, and other EVM chains to kind of add Quartz and then unique to their multi-chain future. That interoperability is actually something very exciting because I think that's where everybody's going to be in a few years. So that's something we are focusing on from the start. So those are kind of four areas where we have actual work being done and actual projects being deployed.
Yeah, that's very interesting because with EVM compatibility, basically taking your NFT to Polygon and in the future to Solana through Neon Labs will be very interesting. Now,
you will be able to do that in April.
In April, all right.
Yep.
That's great. That's great. So at the moment, I feel like NFT industry is still kind of nascent. We're still kind of learning how to kind of utilize some of these things. I think we are very early. So taking concentrated bets on JPEG for an investor could be problematic. So the way I kind of see Quartz network or Unique network is like an index level infrastructure play towards the whole NFT space. So the best so from an investment perspective, one thing investors have in mind, especially when the token gets listed, is the token utility. Let me quickly share my screen. I kind of feel like with Quartz token, we have different utility. We have utility for payment for transactions and staking. So I would love to just go over some of these utility in terms of how this will accrue value and who will be the end users who will accrue value and the end users which these utilities are designed for.
So ultimately, token of a blockchain is needed when there is a lot of action on that blockchain. Okay, when there's a lot of applications, lots of users. And that is our main focus, because when that happens, all of this stuff that's listed there will take place and people will start using Quartz a little or a lot. That's, that's the ultimate key. So there is no kind of rocket science anymore in that. Every blockchain that is out there basically has a very similar model. The way I see we will kind of differ is because there are a lot of things to do with the blockchain, a lot of new things, a lot of original things, a lot of things you cannot do elsewhere, or a lot of things that will make sense for devs to do there, and then their audiences as well. Besides the transaction fees, we have a lot of things in the blockchain that will actually generate that demand. Not only we have our native minting and NFT operations, we have EVM, so that you can use smart contracts for anything, and it's kind of the same the same token utility as in any Ethereum chain. You can use it to make smart contract, deploy and make smart contracts. You use smart contracts; they all eat a lot of gas. The most interesting one, actually, we are still to work on, is app promotion staking. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really trying to get our dev teams to get it on the roadmap finally, because that is something original. I mentioned sponsoring transaction fees. So the way that works is whoever makes the application, they sponsor the transaction fees for the users. It's not like they're gasless. It cannot happen that way. But somebody has to sponsor it. And the idea is who makes the application, they can manage the security of the network themselves easily, and they're responsible for that. Now,
So that's the app promotion staking. So in order to do that, they have to stake certain. So let's say businesses will have to stake certain kind of tokens, like certain quantity of tokens, in order to facilitate that. Okay.
yes, but what we want to do is, you can do that today. Okay, that's that. We have the tools for that. We have the instructions for that. You can do that today. We are using that for our marketplace, for example. They have gasless transaction. If you go to our marketplace, you don't have to have any of our token to use it. But we want to take that a step further. And we want to take token holders, not us, not the app developer, but token holders, to participate in that and to stake their tokens for any application they choose. Okay, that has that program, in exchange for a share of transaction fees that come from that particular application. So that will create not only the demand for that application and the interest, the marketing, kind of the community, it will create a very kind of closed loop ecosystem for each application. So a very self-reinforcing loop, so to say. So that token holders can, they already, most likely they already know about things on Quartz. They're interested to see what applications are out there. They come in, they take a look, they like somebody, they like, I don't know, Artpool, or they like Sovereign Nature, or they like whoever, and they stake their tokens for those applications. So that those applications don't have to own Quartz or Unique, and they get share of transaction fees generated by them. I think that's kind of very strong thing for not just simple staking the token for mining purposes. We don't need to do that. I think that anybody doing that in the Polkadot ecosystem is wasting money. Simply because a network is so secure that another layer of security like that is not needed. Uh, but when you come in and help actual projects with this way, then that adds significant value. So that's one particular feature I'm very excited and very kind of interested in seeing happen.
Right. And what is reputation staking, if I may ask? This is also one of the.
That's an idea uh, that's pretty advanced, so to speak. A lot of people who are specialized in governance much more than I am can tell you about those things for hours. Okay, and it is basically well. Let's simplify it. In Kusama and Polkadot, you can create your identity, and you need to stake some Kusama, KSM or dots for that. That's a very basic version of that. Okay. There will be much more, but that's a basic description of what it is. So you basically put up some money to stake that who you are, and then you build a reputation on top of that. Actually, Bruno is kind of the genius of that stuff from Remark. He has some fantastic ideas on how to use that.
All right. Another thing I wanted to clarify is that, let's say, when you have white label marketplaces building on top of Unique, will will everything be settled in let's say Unique token or Quartz token? Will that also be the goal, or these marketplaces can have their NFTs listed in their own native token? And
So our vision of the blockchain future is very different from what it was up until now. In exactly that aspect, we believe that blockchains should not be nation states, as Gavin Wood puts it, but they should be interoperable and flexible. So you do need Quartz Unique to pay for transaction fees on the blockchain, but we allow actual the app makers to use kind of other tokens as well to pay for those transaction fees, which then get swapped for Quartz or Unique at the bottom layer. So we believe that it's very important to underline the business and interoperability and community rather than we are the empire and we want our token to be the only thing existing on earth and so on. We think that that's a losing strategy long term. So for example, our marketplace that we are kind of launching on Quartz this week, it works on Kusama. It works with KSM. It doesn't work with Quartz. It works with KSM. Okay, because that is the most liquid kind of token out there. Because the purpose of the marketplace is to give ability of people to buy and sell, and KSM is much more liquid than Quartz is. So first thing we give them is ability to trade for Kusama. And then we are developing the native solution, but I want to release that native solution. It's much simpler to have it trade for Quartz, for us technically, much simpler. But for end users, it is much less attractive at this point in time. So we are working on a solution that will be native, but will have a multi-currency functionality as well, so that you can promote your chain, but not have to do it at the expense of users.
Awesome. Yeah, I think we were able to decode the whole infrastructure, the whole Unique project very well here. Um, so, Alex, for you, what do you see as the most significant risk for Unique Network and Quartz Network, and what do you think about the competition within Kusama and Polkadot? One name that kind of crosses my mind, at least in Polkadot, is Affinity. Like, how are you guys thinking about the competition as well as some of the risks that could potentially come forward in the future?
So in terms of risks, blockchain is very tough, complex technology. A lot of things take much longer than people expect. So the major risk that we are kind of trying to address all the time is not trying to be too much. Okay, there's opportunities, and there's the NFT space has boomed in the last 2 years. When we started doing it, it was a very niche type of a thing that we chose because it was a niche. And now it's kind of mainstream. It's everywhere and everybody's doing it. Okay. And in this environment, it is very hard to stop and kind of not do certain things. But we try to kind of create a very clear strategy of what we do and what we let others do and what we help others to do. That is kind of the most challenging part of what we are doing today. We are well funded. We have runway for a few years. We have great reputation in the ecosystem. I don't see I see us kind of easily winning the slot in the near future in Polkadot and maintaining that position as well. In terms, that's basically in terms of risks for us. It's the timing, it's the race against time, because again, the space is exploding. Then you asked about competition. That word for me is something that doesn't describe anything in our surrounding. The reason for that is that we are in the very beginning stages of the NFT world. And as such, competition is something that implies established players fighting for market share. Okay. Here we don't have that situation at all, because there's no market to fight for. There is kind of only exploration and of discovery and exploration and building of new things. The space is completely empty, and it's just a question who gets which corner, who gets which part initially. So we are in a stage, just like in the beginning stages of the internet, new models came about where a lot of companies were at the same time partnering and competing. And they could do that because it made sense, because we are not competing for market share with others. We are all just discovering, building what we can build, and that's it. So we are very focused on ourselves, on what we can build and what we can do. In terms of the rest of the Polkadot ecosystem, there's a number of players actually doing different things in NFT space. I mentioned Remark, you mentioned Infinity. Remark is doing a lot of things and has done a lot of things and is really ripping it in terms of the traction. And we are a very deep partner with them. Infinity, I haven't seen them deliver anything yet. Okay, so when they do, I'll be very happy to kind of explore a lot of different interoperability and kind of combination features and so on. Same with BitCountry and anybody else out there. Our biggest kind of focus and goal is to make Polkadot NFT ecosystem the biggest in the world. Okay, and we will get there only by actually combining forces and working together towards that. And so again, I don't consider any of those projects a competitor. We are just partnering with some more, with some less. With some, so far, we haven't kind of done anything kind of specifically, but we will, and that's it. So, that if we make Polkadot the biggest kind of NFT space out there, there will be a lot of things to do and a lot of bread for everybody involved. It's not a competition.
You did mention, and we discussed it earlier as well, we are very early within the NFT space. Let's imagine we are in 2025. What are some of the trends you see happening in NFTs and some of the use cases beyond JPEGs, music, and maybe collectibles and gaming items? Like, how would you envision the NFT space by 2025?
The NFTs are a technology to tokenize unique assets. If you take a look at the real life, collectibles are not, by far not the most valuable unique assets that humanity has. We have our identity, we have our real estate, we have our cars, we have our diplomas for education, we have our software licenses. There's there's the value of unique asset classes in the real world is probably as big as fungible. Yet NFTs are a very small percentage of the blockchain space, and that is because technology is not there yet. We are building that technology that can get us there. So I hope that we kind of, as such, serve as a kind of basis for innovation in this space. I don't think that some of the biggest use cases I mentioned are going to be there by 2025, like real estate. It's very conservative, very slow. But gaming industry for sure will be the kind of main driver for the next few years because it really makes sense. It's a completely new way to build games. It's a completely new way to build entertainment, and with metaverse kind of becoming the buzzword that is NFTs are enabling the digital scarcity in those worlds. So it is irreplaceable as a technology, whatever others think. And but then we're going to start seeing by 2025, we're going to see experiments in million different use cases for NFTs. Which ones of them are going to succeed and which ones are not by 2025, I have no idea. The technology is very hard to predict in terms of success timing. But that in 2035, there will be $1 trillion or $10 trillion NFT economy, there will be.
Thanks, and thanks for the prediction and bigger timeline. So, Alex, before we conclude, is there anything that we might have missed out, or is there anything you want to discuss before we conclude the podcast?
Well, for us, what I would like to kind of tell the audience is NFTs are fun, and NFTs are manageable by everybody. And there's much more to them than just kind of buying them and flipping them and selling them more expensive. There's much more fun in the process, first of all. And secondly, there's our ecosystem is just being built. So there's a lot of value for being there and following it and being part of it. And actually, it is the end users that are the most important part of the ecosystem. So there's going to be a lot of incentives for them to join in and really play with this stuff. We have had those Substrate Punks and then later Celebrate collections. They become a badge for anybody who was in our story early with us. And they are today getting share of our marketplace commissions, for example. We're distributing that tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. We're doing that every quarter. So basically, just by owning them, they become part owners and receive income from that marketplace. The same thing is going to happen all over the ecosystem. There's a lot of innovation, a lot of fun. Come on and join it. It's going to be a lot of fun and should be very rewarding for everybody.
Thank you, Alex, and thank you for the message. It was my pleasure to have you on 100X.
Thank you. My pleasure to be here. Great talking to you, mate.